we want to simplify quantity 1 plus e to the 2x times e to the x minus e to the x times 2 times e to the 2x all over the quantity 1 plus e to the 2x squared. So here what I want to point out is that we cannot just cancel the binomial 1 plus e to the 2x that's in the numerator and denominator, because we can only cancel factors, and right now in the numerator I have two terms. So what I want to go ahead and do is recognize that the two terms in the numerator have something in common. They have an e to the x in common. So I'm going to start this problem by factoring out that e to the x in common in both terms in the numerator. And what I'm going to have left over from the first term is 1 plus e to the 2x. And from the second term, if I factor out an e to the x, I'm going to have minus 2e to the 2x. And then all over the quantity 1 plus e to the 2x squared. In the numerator, inside this factor, these are like terms, e to the 2x and minus 2e to the 2x. So I'm going to have e to the x times the quantity 1 minus e to the 2x all over the quantity 1 plus e to the 2x squared. And finally, to be fully simplified, we want to recognize that 1 minus e to the 2x is the difference of squares, so this can be factored further. So we have e to the x times the quantity 1 minus e to the x times the quantity 1 plus e to the x all over the quantity 1 plus e to the 2x squared. So the difference of squares, because this is 1 squared minus e to the x squared. Let's simplify the quantity 2 plus cosine x times cosine x minus sine x times negative sine x all over quantity 2 plus cosine x squared. First, let's not be tempted to cancel the quantity 2 plus cosine x that's in the numerator and denominator, because these are not factors. In the numerator, I still have two terms. So what I want to do is try to see if anything is in common in those two terms, but there isn't anything I can factor out of both. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to distribute the cosine x into the 2 plus cosine x. So in the numerator I'll have 2 cosine x plus cosine squared x. And then I'm going to multiply the negative sine x times negative sine x, and that'll give me plus sine squared x all over the quantity 2 plus cosine x squared. Now we want to hopefully see this nice familiar Pythagorean identity that cosine squared x plus sine squared x is 1. Meaning the numerator becomes 2 cosine x plus 1 all over the quantity 2 plus cosine x all squared. And from here, there's no further simplification. This is my final answer. Let's simplify the quantity 2 plus cosine x squared times negative 2 sine x minus quantity 2 cosine x plus 1 times 2 times quantity 2 plus cosine x times negative sine x all over the quantity 2 plus cosine x to the 4th. There is a lot going on, but let's try to recognize that in the numerator there's only two terms. So let's see what is in common in both of those terms. From the first term, we have a numerical factor of negative 2. In the second term, I have a 2, and then a negative, and then this is subtraction here. So I can factor out a negative 2. And then from the first term, I have a sine x factor, and from the second term, I have a sine x factor. Let's take that out. From the first term, I have a 2 plus cosine x all squared. And the second term, I have a 2 plus cosine x to the first. So I could take out the smaller of the two, a quantity 2 plus cosine x to the first. And that's all they have in common in both, so let's see what's left over. Well, I took out the negative 2, the sine x, and one copy of 2 plus cosine x. So there's one copy left. If it's just one copy, there's no need for parentheses around it if it's to the first power. And then we did take out a negative 2, but there was an extra negative, so it's still going to be subtraction here. So I took out like this 2 and this negative. I took out the sine x, and so and the 2 plus cosine x. So what's left over is this quantity here. That's going to be 2 cosine x plus 1, all in parentheses, because the minus has to distribute to both of those. And then this is still all over the quantity 2 plus cosine x to the 4th. So I have negative 2 sine x times quantity 2 plus cosine x times the quantity 2 plus cosine x minus 2 cosine x minus 1 after distributing the negative. And then all over 2 plus cosine x to the 4th. Now here, I can actually cancel the quantity now, 2 plus cosine x, with one of the copies of that in the denominator. There's 4 copies in the denominator, and now one copy up here that is a factor, since everything up here is being multiplied. So I can cancel one of these out, and then I have just 3 copies of 2 plus cosine x in the denominator. So now I do want to simplify what's in the parentheses in here because there are some like terms. So in the numerator, I'm going to have negative 2 sine x times the quantity, 2 minus 1 is 1, and then cosine x minus 2 cosine x, that's minus cosine x, all over the quantity 2 plus cosine x, all to the 3rd power.